Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to another edition of Adesope Live, the official Afrobeats Podcast, where we break down the hottest topics in the culture and invite special guests from around the world to sit down with me here at the Afro Media Studios to have a conversation. Shout outs to everybody subscribing, liking, sharing. We appreciate the support. Ladies and gentlemen, joining me in the studio right now is a special guest all the way from Southern Africa. South Africa, to be precise, one of the hottest artists from the continent, a superstar that has transcended genres, cultures, and now is enjoying a whole new wave. Please welcome the incredible Costa Titch.
Yes, sir.
Listen,
Bro.
your swag it's on a different level, bro.
Thank you.
It's like a mixture of like hip hop meets like B-boy type of swag. First of all, for a couple of people that don't know who Costa is, who is Costa Titch?
Wow. It could be a long way or the short way about it, but basically, bro, just a kid that grew up in a small city in Nelspruit in Mpumalanga in South Africa. Very, very passionate about dancing. That was my first love in terms of the entertainment space. And over the years, throughout dancing, then tried out to try out the music, saw the lights. I think the big thing for me was the vision I had for myself. When you're growing up, you dream about like what you think you're going to become or what you see. And then once I started back up dancing for artists, I started to see the artists living the life I envisioned for myself. And then I looked at the dancers that had been in the game longer than I was. And I was like, that's not really what I'm seeing for myself. And that time I hadn't really like jumped in the studio,
Wow.
So I was like, yo, let's try it out,
Wow.
And I think it was also obviously very, very humbling experience, to, stop dancing and then try out the music thing, because that took me straight down to rock bottom. But picking up my steps, getting back on my feet and starting to navigate and figure out how the music works. Then I got into music. And then maybe I think 5 years into the music, things started to take off.
That's crazy. You talked about being from a small town in South Africa. To be a dancer is one thing. To be a professional dancer who was making a living off of that is another thing.
Yeah.
Where did that come to you in that small town to think that, listen, I could earn some bread from dancing for people?
It was YouTube, bro. So I was like, okay, obviously, like, it was starting to dance. That was Chris Brown. I was like watching his music videos and like copying what he was doing, That's how we started, right? And then from there, we, like things like YouTube came about and we started seeing these choreography videos from like, the States and stuff. Guys like Brian Puspos, Keone Madrid, still like my all-time favorite choreographers. Paris Goebel, she's from New Zealand. And seeing what they were doing and putting online, it was just like, wow. And then now you start to see like the BTS videos and stuff, and you see that, wait, these guys actually living a good life. Wait, I can actually make money off of being a dancer, Because back there in Nelspruit, everyone, like growing up, everyone used to make that like joke, being like, oh yeah, you're gonna put your hat down and dance for money, like like that's their perception of how you're gonna make money off of dancing, and
like you're busking for money, put some money in it after you see the moonwalk,
bro,
type of thing.
And it was the craziest story because I literally had to learn via like trial and error. So I was at a stage, I was choreographing for this rugby team in Nelspruit, right? So we had like the rugby team of Mpumalanga. It's called the Pumas, right? So I was choreographing for them. And I'll never forget, I was getting such a low rate, like monthly salary to choreograph for these guys. Like every week I had rehearsals. On the weekends it was game days. And then basically I had joined a crew that was based in Johannesburg. And Johannesburg is like the New York of South Africa.
That's the big city.
Where the
That's
entertainment
where everything
hub.
happens.
Yeah. So I get scouted and I get connected with the crew in Johannesburg, and I go over to Johannesburg. So now I'm using that little money I'm getting to travel to Johannesburg and like rehearse with the crew, yeah. And now I'm just overhearing the conversations, and then I forgot what they said. They were like, yeah, next week we have one show. We've got like 3 rehearsals for it. It's a corporate gig and we're getting paid X amount. And my mind just went like, I'm like, whoa. Wait, we can actually make like proper money, you know? So I tell them, I'm like, guys, next gig, put me on. Put me on. I'll learn whatever choreography. Put me on that gig. I'll even come out here and do it, you know? And literally they called me up like a month later saying we have another show. And then I went to Johannesburg for 2 weeks. Right now, in those 2 weeks, I was getting paid maybe like a year's worth of salary.
No way.
Of back home. And then I still remember calling the guy that hired me, and he's like, there's no ways. I've been in the entertainment game. There's no ways you're getting paid. And I was like, believe it or not, bro, it's happening. I'm done. I left, bro. And literally, that's how it came about. 2 weeks in Johannesburg turned to a month. Then the month turned to 2 months. And then eventually I went back home. And I went to collect my stuff, and I ended up moving to Johannesburg, yeah.
And in Johannesburg, obviously, you're working with the crew, you're getting corporate gigs, and then you pop up dancing for superstar artists like Cassper Nyovest.
Yes, sir.
How did those connect, and what exactly how long did you dance with an artist like that for, and how did that kind of impact your career?
So more than anything, we were also like, so there's 2 different sides to it. So like as the dancers, you'll have like the competition side, where you're competing, and at that time we had just won the Red Bull Beat Battle in SA, so we're the number 1 crew in that division. And then on the other side is like now you're doing like the gigs, like the music videos, you know, the corporate gigs, the flash mobs, you know, and then from the music videos you're connecting with the different artists and whatnot. And funny enough, a girl that I was seeing at the time, she grew up with Cassper.
Wow.
Right? Before, didn't say she grew up with him, but she knew him before he blew up.
Yeah.
And she showed him our video on YouTube of us when we won the Red Bull Beat Battle. And he was like, yo, these guys are sick. I need to meet with them. And then from there, we all just went out for drinks and stuff, and we connected. And next thing, he called us up. He's like, yo, I've got an award show. I need you guys to come dance.
Was that the SA?
It was the Metro Awards at the time.
Was that the one where you had the big choreography that was like really mad? There was one on YouTube that had a mad.
There's a couple, but it started off with the Metro Awards. It was just like the 4 of us, and then there was obviously the dancers that were hired by the award show.
Yeah.
And then after that show, that's when like he made it a thing. He was like, yo, after this, every time we do these type of shows, I need to use you guys and not the other dancers. And that's how the relationship grew. And then eventually we landed up going on tour with him. And that's when we landed up going into the space of like, you know, choreographing his Fill Up the Dome.
That massive
show, you know. And now doing all of these things and seeing all these things on the road, that's when the light started to, you know. Now you're linking up, we're meeting Ricky Rick at different shows. Like we go into MP. Now we're backstage, we bump into Ricky. All right, cool. After that, we go to Northwest. We're rocking in Northwest. Now we're back in Joburg. We meet Ricky again. It's like, wait, these guys are really living like this. Like this is like that real superstar like life, you know? And it all just started to make sense at that moment. And that's when we started trying out like the music. We were like, yo, when we weren't gigging, we would jump into studio and we just like try and make tested, yeah. But it was funny because we actually wanted to put our dance videos on TV.
Wow.
That was the main thing that sparked the idea. So it was like, we put all this effort into these choreography videos that we put on YouTube. How can we get this on Channel O, which is like MTV?
Like the biggest platform, absolutely.
And then my boy Tumi Kladi said to me, he's like, yo, we got to own the copyright. And I was like, okay, all right. Let's get in the studio. And we thought we were going to make some crazy beat, you know, sit with the producer and make a beat.
So you just wanted to make your own music, create the choreography, get that on TV.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that to make your own music, we're actually making our own music.
Exactly. And
That's
then
mad.
it just, it like was just a snowball effect from that point. We just kept trial and error.
I told you I was going to share a story with you. So about 11 years, about over a decade ago, a superstar by the name Double HP came to London.
Sure.
And I got invited to this very small gig he was doing in central London. I'll never forget it. It's called Uncle Charlie's, the little bar. And I went there. Obviously, HHP is a legend, is an icon from Africa. So I was like, let me just go and catch up with him. I'll watch the show, and then I'll interview him at the end of the show. So I went to the show. He gave me his time. I interviewed him. Shout out Factory 78. We sat down, had an amazing moment. The interview is still out there. I watch it from time to time because anybody that knew HHP, he's an inspirational figure.
Yeah.
Very intelligent.
100%.
Very intelligent. So he said, why don't you just wait and watch the show? So whilst I was watching the show, he had like 2 backup dancers. And one of them stood out. He had a long ponytail, and he was like going in, flipping, kneeling. He did everything. And that dancer was part of the reason why I decided, let me just stay for the entire show, and just watch this whole thing. And fast forward 6 years later, the dancer's name is Casper Nyovest.
That's crazy, bro.
That was the first contact I had of Casper before he became the rapper, the superstar. He was there working with Double HP, learning the ropes as a musician, and also backing him up as a creative, a dancer. So of course, not until now where we've started to see a lot of dancers and artists that were behind the scenes doing other things, now started to add their musical talents to it.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like most people, like they kind of, and that's something that I've always been trying to change the narrative of back in SA. Is like people overlook the dancers. They kind of sit in the shadows, and it's like, okay, it's just the dancers. So it's dancers, hurry up, get ready. It's like that kind of treatment. And and the number like. The thing that always fueled my fire was like, to come from dancing, I want to make sure that when I do get into the right space with my music, I always want to represent the dancers the right way.
Facts.
That's why, for example, like if you look at maybe like the Big Flexer music video, it will say starring Soweto's finest. That's straight up crediting the dance crew that's behind the choreography.
That's amazing.
And that's really just the thought process that I always wanna do, is just to represent the dance community in the right way. Make sure that my tour dancers, whoever's on my sets, all of those things are always treated the right way. They're always well looked after. They always just feel appreciated. Because man, I've been there. I've been there. I know what it feels to be tired on set. Your body's aching, the amount of hours it takes to rehearse. And then the artist rocks up like 15 minutes before and it's like, let's get it. And you just had like a whole long day, I know that feeling.
The funny thing is, I watched an interview with Chris Brown just about 3 weeks ago. And he took a moment to talk about the importance of his dancers. He said in the last 4 or 5 years, every viral moment that we see, every incredible choreography that we see was orchestrated by his dancers. And because of that, he's had to completely, whenever he walks into rehearsal or he walks on stage, there's no boss, there's no God. Everybody becomes teammates that are working for the same team. And because of that feeling, he believes his dancers have been able to give him the best work that they'll give everybody. Shout outs to Afro Nation. I just co-hosted Afro Nation about 2 months ago, and I was in front of the stage watching Chris Brown perform. And the whole thing that Chris Brown brought, apart from his vocals, which are crazy, his big flex.
The catalog is crazy, right?
Yes, but was the dancers. The dancers made the stage, they made his performance, and everybody kept on talking about that. Now let's flip into the music. You stepped into hip hop, trap was like the first move that you made. Why trap and hip hop?
Basically, like to draw it back to the dancing is what the music I make is inspired by what I want to dance to. Do you get what I'm saying?
Facts.
So obviously that time you can already tell I'm talking about Casper, I'm talking about Ricky, I'm talking about AKA, all these guys.
With big smile on your face,
SA hip hop's at its prime.
Facts.
I'm gonna get in the studio and make hip hop.
Facts.
Facts. I still remember that time like DJ Mustard was like running the game, So it's like, that's just the only way to explain it. And then obviously, through the hip hop, I managed to break into the industry in SA and create a name for myself.
Yeah.
And we've been really, really just progressing and trying our best to make that work. And then obviously things like COVID and lockdown come. They
Change the world.
obviously changed the entire world. And for me, it hits me at a time where I'm like, wait, is the universe like taking this personal with me, man? Because it's like it's coming literally after like my follow-up single. Like, wait, what's happening? And then we had to re-strategize, and then obviously went into album mode, and then obviously you've got things like I'm a piano surfacing, which is like creating so much noise you cannot ignore it.
No, you'd be crazy to ignore that.
You can't ignore it. And I just found myself last year, maybe June, I'm just listening to I'm a piano back to back to back. Like my entire playlist is just consisting of I'm a piano. Everywhere we're going, we're on tour, we're on the way to the shows, whether it be interviews, just driving to the store. I've just got a record that I want to listen to and I want to play. And that's when I couldn't fight the urge within me to, jump into studio and give it a try.
Give it a try. You mentioned Ricky Rick a couple of times, and I saw the remix of your record that had Ricky on that. And, I had the pleasure to meet Ricky too.
Sure.
What was it like working with such an incredible talent
Sure.
and such a different personality? Ricky's style in itself deserved the magazine covers. But what was it like for you, especially because I've heard you mention his name a couple times? What was it like for you to work with Ricky Rick, especially at that time, just coming from your dance career into music?
Bro, he changed my life, bro. Straight up, he changed my life. There's no other way to put it, bro. Like, him reacting to the song on socials first was like a huge thing for me. Like, I remember celebrating in the house just by a comment on the post. That's not even him co-signing, like, yo, just commenting like those fire emojis. Like, and I think that's also what a lot of big artists don't understand, the power of the impact of their influence and what they have on those that are, next and the upcoming artists. But more than anything, bro, he really, really, he took a chance on me. I remember he met with Zeus Omega and Kai from Creative Corner, and Zeus called me and he's like, bro, send me your other records that you're working on at the moment, because Ricky wants to hear what else you got.
Wow.
And that was my moment when I realized, like, wait, is he considering a remix?
Damn it.
Because like, if he's listening, I think he just needed that last piece of like to say, okay, it's not just this record, he's got more.
This guy's yeah.
And straight up, bro, I sent the records through, and the next thing I know, he hits me up. He's like, yo, let's do the remix, right?
Wow.
So I send him the open verse, And I remember the one day I got home, I was so tired, I fall asleep, and then I wake up and I've got like maybe I think 10 missed calls from Kai. From Creative Corner, and then I'm like, wait, why is Kai trying to call me so much? I call him back. He's like, bro, get on socials right now, and like literally, there's Ricky Rick on his stories. Like he's busy rapping.
Going in.
He's busy rapping in studio onto the beat, and now everything is just blowing up. It's just like, it's just the next thing after the next thing. The next day we wake up, AKA's in his car driving, bumping the record.
God
you
damn
know?
it.
It's just it's amazing. I mean, Spuda Rock, for example, he's my brand manager over here, and he tweeted, he's like, "Yo, watch out for Costa Titch," and I'm seeing that tweet, and I'm like,
"You're seeing the big heavyweights in the culture."
Bro, I'm like, yo, we might have one, Oh man, but yeah, just to throw it back to Ricky, man, like he honestly he mentored me. It was really like a big bro to me. He would always call me, check up on me, randomly. Every time I'd hit him up, he'd always have the best and the most logical advice, in terms of what's the next step for my career. And even, moments as an artist, you're trying to figure it out. So you can feel very confused on your come up and not know what's the best thing for you to do, or maybe a brand is hitting you up, or somebody is hitting you up and they're trying to come with an angle or stuff like that. And I'd always hit him up in those moments to be like, yo, what should I do? I'll never forget, I'll just say it, Sony in SA offering me a 10-year deal.
Damn!
Like just off of the record, and then going into the meeting, and they wanted me to record there, and re-record the song and remaster it in their studio, and all those kind of things. And it didn't sit well with me, to hear those kind of chats. And I had the conversation with Ricky, and he's just like, bro,
Forget it, man.
you're on radio right now. He got Nkalagata on radio. So
No way.
So he was submitting his latest single, and he put it with Nkalagata. He submitted both of them to get on radio. And he's literally like, yo, you getting bookings right now, right? I'm like, yeah. He's like, you playing on radio? I'm like, yeah. He's like, it's like the socials are buzzing, the streets are talking. I'm like, yeah. He's like, don't sign, bro. Just keep going.
Oh, God damn it.
And literally every single time I was on the verge of signing, he'd keep coming back to me like, bro.
Not yet, brother.
To this day, bro, we're still independent. It's crazy.
The machine still runs
crazy, bro.
by the team.
It's crazy. I have to give big shout out to SBR Projects, Buddha Rock, my brand manager. I have to give credit to T Effect. They handle my distribution. We have a really, really big team. And, just all the different departments and whatnot that work together for that common goal. It's really just allowed the vision to come to life. It's not going to be the easiest.
Yep.
But 100%.
But
100%.
I'll be honest with you. Some of my favorite entertainers, musicians are independent still.
Sure.
For a variety of reasons. I had Don Jazzy came to see me here, and regardless of their partnerships internationally, he's decided still to run the situation independently out of Nigeria. Because number one, the artists would learn a lot more still being independent, because you have to use your social media. You have to be involved in the brand meetings.
It'll humble you.
Facts.
It'll humble you, bro, to understand the different compartments and all the different factors that you have to vary in when, pushing your music and trying to get it to do the things that you want it to do.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing that a lot of I think the fans don't realize is certain drops have certain intentions. So sometimes you're really just giving them something to just
to keep it going. Let's see how they feel. With that.
And then you're loading up the real one.
Facts.
Because if you just coming with your strongest shot every time, eventually people are gonna say, okay, pull another trick.
Yes.
What are you gonna do now?
What next?
So yeah, being independent really, really, really challenges you in that factor. And I'd say even to this day, bro, literally everything we make really gets reinvested. It goes straight back into the business.
That's the talk I like.
It's
that's the talk I like. Go back into the music videos,
bro,
the marketing.
It's just the whole circle. It keeps going back and forth. Sometimes it gets tired because now you start to see artists
other
flex.
people flexing at you.
And you're like, yo.
I know.
Like, yo. but 100%, man, it's all worth it in the long run, bro. To be 100% in control of what you want to do, your brainchild, your creative direction. If you have an idea, if I can wake up tomorrow and say, yo, let me drop this today, and we can do it, Obviously, the industry does force you to play by certain rules,
But you still have a lot more control over your career, over your creative process.
No one can wake up and tell me we're not dropping your record. That's the one thing that I appreciate the most, is that we have that control, and because I'm such a creative, bro. I can wake up at 3 a.m. just boosting with ideas, and just thinking, yo, I need to do this, what, and then create the craziest thing. And if I feel like I'm in a position where I can't move like that, I feel very frustrated.
Yes.
So even something like I removed my wisdom teeth last month. Being at home for 2 weeks, I was so frustrated. I'm sitting there recovering, but I'm
let me just get this thing out.
I need to do something. I need to, So yeah, man, that's really what it is in a nutshell. It's really worth it if you stick it through. But then again, you also have to be honest with yourself. If you don't have the skills in the sense of marketing or understanding those kind of elements and hard work and drive that go into because you have to remove yourself as an artist. You have to say, okay, I'm making music right now as an artist, but now I have to step back and look at myself as the artist and say,
and see the business.
How
Where
can we move this business?
Facts.
So if you're not good at that, then I definitely always suggest you need to reach out and get help and let those angles move for you. Doesn't mean sign a 360.
Facts.
I mean, with us, we didn't know the brand space. That's when we
with a brand manager, someone
projects.
who that was his game.
Yeah, you know, so it's things like that. Like you have to be honest with yourself because not all the time. It's like I think they say, the more hands in the basket, there needs to be more in the basket. It's like some term like that, but you understand it will definitely open, make it bigger.
Absolutely. You talked about Nkalagats with Ricky Rick, obviously the remix.
Sure.
This is the record that opened the door for you. More hip hop trap records, and now you were enjoying Amapiano in the last 1 year. You started to vibe on that, and voila, here comes one of the biggest explosions to come out of the continent in Big Flex. Now, I wanted to ask you, your heritage is Portuguese? Did you say your heritage?
Well, bloodline, I'd say, is half Greek, half Portuguese.
Okay.
I'm South African.
So what languages do you speak?
I speak English, 100%. I understand more Zulu than I can speak.
Wow.
And I understand a little bit of Setswana and Sotho, a little bit there. That one, sometimes when people speak to me, it's like...
when they're rolling fast, you know how it is when...
That one kind of misses me sometimes. They're like, yo, but I've heard you like rap like that before. I'm like, yo, dude, it's very limited there, you know? But yeah, man, and then obviously Afrikaans, like the basics of that. I did it in school. Really wish I did Siswati in school. Really did wish I did that.
Now it could now come into use. But now, with the Amapiano records and stuff like that, what languages are you throwing on your music now? It's like Zulu and stuff?
It's a mixture, bro. So you'll go in and out of English, then we'll throw in some, you know, just like South African terms that everyone you know, is
that
familiar
everybody
with.
Understands.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's really the basis of it. Yeah.
That's incredible. Now, like I was saying, obviously you started to flex on the Amapiano vibes, and in comes Big Flex.
Yes, sir.
Two big questions that we usually ask an artist that has a monster record. One, how did that record happen?
Sure.
And two, and most importantly, was there a tingle in your spine to say, it might be this record that crosses the borders, you know?
Sure. Okay, let me start with how it was made.
Yeah.
So I've got a gig. I'll never forget it. It's Germiston rooftop, right? We get there. It's not packed. It's one of those gigs where it's like pretty empty, but the venue's a bit big. And you're like, let's have fun. You know, we perform.
Just rock it out.
Yeah. I get off stage and I meet a guy named Spuda M. And he's like, yo, bro, I got Amapiano beats for you. And now this is during that phase when I'm just listening to Amapiano. So I'm like, bro, send it
my way.
Yeah, I literally said, I'm like, send me something of yours right now. I'm gonna listen to it on the way home. Because I'm gonna be playing Amapiano regardless. Let me hear your record, you know. And literally as we're on our way out, we play his record. I'm listening to it on the way home. I can hear that this is the real thing, you know, like it's proper. So I tell my manager, Khotso, I'm like, bro, please reach out to him, tell him to send some beats, and then let's take it from there. And basically, how can I put it, bro? It's late night studio session. We're at the house. I'm busy recording in the lounge area, and all the gents go to bed. You know, when it's at that point, we're like, okay, we done.
Yeah. We've been hanging around you. Everybody's been giving you all the props, but right now, we've got to go to sleep.
So now they go to bed, and I'm like, okay. I go to the WhatsApp message. I drop the beats. I throw it on FL. I start playing it. And I'm like, I'm just hearing now that beat is Big Flexer, basically. So now I'm hearing this beat and there's a verse. Like the verse, basically, the first half of the Big Flexer verse starts, I wrote it while I was driving. I think we were on a long distance trip. And we were listening to Amapiano in the car and like that verse just like came to me so quickly. So I'm just quickly writing because generally when I travel, I like to write down things that inspire me and stuff to create like what I want to say in the music, you know. And I'm writing it down, and I had that first half, and literally the moment I recorded that on the beat, it just sat perfectly. Yeah. And I was like, damn, this is something, you know. So I looped that thing twice, you know. I looped it twice. Anyways, I go to bed. Next morning, I wake up. My DJ Shamburu Makenzo and Jerome, they in the kitchen. They're busy making food, you know, breakfast. Yeah. I press play.
They jumped out,
bro. They start going crazy. They're like, "Yo, this one is the one, this one is the one. And then Shampuru tells me, he's like, yo, cut out the looping of your verse and finish the verse.
Instead of doubling that verse, just make it a whole verse, finish it.
Finish it. I literally looped, muted it, quickly sat down. It took me like less than 10 minutes, quickly, pieced it together. And we had Big Flexa. Literally that same day, I jumped up and I put my phone on record. And I'm just standing by the door. Like, you'll see it, the TikTok is there on my TikTok. And I'm literally like, I was dancing for so long. I was busy doing all the trending on my piano moves. And I'm like, nah, I need something unique for this one, And then eventually, bro, like literally the move came to me, the Big Flexer move. It came to me and I couldn't stop doing it. Like the song kept making me feel like doing that. And I'm like, this is the one. And then I remember Jerome saying me like, yeah, post it,
Wow.
And then I posted that clip and I was like, what should I name the song? Because I didn't have a name for the song.
No way.
And then that took off. That's how I found the name Big Flexer in the comments. So then from there, I'm starting to feel nervous, bro, because at that point, this is not the way I generally market my music. Normally, everything comes through Instagram. This is just a 15-second TikTok,
TikTok.
You want. Put it out on TikTok, and now that's moving. And I'm like, okay, now I do another one. And I'm like, okay, who do you want to be featured on this record? Now they're listing all the big Amapiano acts, whatnot. And then I was like, okay, let me give it a try. I send it to a few of them. The guy's Mize. So I won't say who Mize because they slept on a big record, but big guys that they Mize the record, bro. It can show you the WhatsApp messages. So they Mize.
They gonna hate.
They Mize it, bro. And then I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, no, man, I've got my boy Alpha Cat. I've got Alpha Cat, I've got Banaba Dares. They pushing piano, bro. They've been pushing this, and they've got some big records. They've got Phone Yam, they've got Yebo Malume. I featured on the remix. I'm like, actually, I hit up Alpha Cat. I'm like, bro.
My own boys.
Yeah, why not? Send it through. He laced it. And basically, that's how the record came together. Then I'm in a position where it's like, now I'm approaching the drop of the record. And I'm thinking to myself, so basically, to cut a long story short, there was a back and forth thing that happened. Well, it wasn't really so much of a back and forth.
Yeah.
But basically, how can I say it? Casper said a few things. I said a few things online. And then the whole story got blown out of proportion. Now people are thinking I'm saying I'm going to save SA hip-hop and all that stuff. When I never said I'm going to save it, I was just saying that let us, as the youth, bring that unity back together.
Just add a little bit of spice to it.
Type of thing, right? And that's sometimes the problem with keeping quiet. When you keep quiet for too long, people can make up their own story and then run with it. So eventually I had to step out and I had to address Casper and say, yo, bro, look, I don't have a problem with you, bro.
Absolutely.
It was just what you said. I didn't really agree with it and whatnot. It wasn't to say that.
Was it respectful?
Yeah, understand.
You didn't,
Yeah, but anyways, to cut a long story short, that situation was happening, right? So now I've got all of Casper's fans on me, you're gonna save this hip-hop. Yeah. So you can already imagine the fear in me to drop a Amapiano record after that situation, So it was I was really scared. I'm like, yo, but this song is hot, bro. I gotta drop it, So I'm thinking to myself, you know what? Let me drop this thing. TikTok wants it. Maybe it's going to shake up SA a little bit, That's as far as I thought. I thought SA, literally. And I dropped the record, and, bro, the numbers are just moving. Crazy. I mean, I think come February into this year, we get hacked on YouTube. Our YouTube gets hacked, bro. We had just hit 100,000 subscribers. The YouTube gets hacked. We had just touched 2 million views. That was my highest viewed video.
No way.
And my whole YouTube gets taken down.
No.
All my videos, they changed, bro. I literally witnessed it. So I was coming from a gig, right? And we're going into a bad signal area.
Yeah.
And as we get into the area with no signal, I see the notification saying somebody has changed your
password
and stuff. I'm like, yo, I'm trying to log in. I can't log in because I have no signal. As soon as I get signal, I literally go on my YouTube. This guy's live. He's busy marketing cryptocurrencies and stuff. I'm like, oh man, it's gone.
Me. From Africa?
I don't even know where, bro. The next day I wake up, my YouTube is gone. He's changed my name and the videos. You can't find any video. It's all gone, bro. So we were in a back and forth, trying our best. We ended up communicating with YouTube itself. I was getting in touch with Google because I think it's like when you unlock a certain type of Google Drive,
Yeah.
you can like have proper customer support
Yeah.
and stuff. So we like back and forth with those things. Like, and then 2 months later, so in those 2 months, someone re-uploaded the Big Flexer video. In those 2 months, it was down.
No way.
And now that one racks up 500,000 views.
No. People
So
were
I'm
looking
seeing,
for
bro,
it.
So I'm seeing,
So you're seeing someone else's
so
channel.
I'm seeing that guy's channel and it's going up. I'm like, damn. We're getting more views. People are watching his videos. So we're laughing about it. I'm like, yo, you're saving me because people have a place to
Because
see
people
it.
still see it.
But also, you're running up the views, bro. So now the channel comes back. Bro, I think maybe after a week, once the YouTube algorithm had adjusted back to this is the main channel,
Yeah.
Big Flexer just starts going crazy.
Just flying.
Crazy, bro. I'm starting to get scared, bro. Like, I'm seeing like 150,000 views a day. I've never seen that in my career, And we're just literally witnessing via the socials. We're starting to see the tags in different countries, and we're literally watching the record go viral and move in different
Into
territories.
different areas.
And it's just corresponding now. The bookings are coming for those areas.
I
And
saw you in Uganda.
Bro,
I see you.
yeah,
Now you're in
it's-
the UK. You've been man.
you
So
know,
it's all over the
we've-
place.
We've been touring since February this year. Like literally, like I think I've maybe spent four or five weekends in SA this whole year, max.
Wow.
Every weekend we've been flying out, and it's just been the craziest, most overwhelming experience. bro.
That's amazing.
Really,
Now
really.
the question is going to be simple.
Sure,
You're a hip hop fan.
sure,
You're somebody that's come into the hip hop scene and started to do things.
sure.
You are creative, a musician.
yeah.
Hence why you're able to do what you've done with the Big Flexer record
Sure.
and the Amapiano vibes, and the huge success is there,
Sure.
including what Amapiano is doing worldwide.
Yeah.
Where are you gonna sit now going forward?
So it's crazy, bro. I've been doing a blend ever since. If you go back to my record Tembi, this is when Amapiano was still fresh. And you listen to Tembi, on the second chorus of Tembi, we've got a log drum in between the 808s. It's coming in there.
Because you're heavy
We're
on the 808s from day one.
So we've been experimenting. We've been trying ways to like put like Amapiano into the hip hop. Then I've got Ariyeng, which was my biggest single of my first album. And that one is literally the log drum. Gong, 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 gong on the
Yeah.
record. And now everywhere I'm performing, everyone's just hitting the log. So we've been experimenting with ways to, blend the two. And now that I'm doing piano, it's like my next EP, I'm definitely coming full piano with the next EP, but people will definitely see a change in the structure. So I've been like testing myself and playing with the structure of Amapiano to make it try feel like hip hop, but it's still Amapiano.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean? And that I think is going to be exciting because I think a lot of Amapiano records are straight up the traditional way. It starts with the percussion.
Yeah.
It's just used for the DJs to mix
to
in.
blend in before.
Which I personally feel like, I think a lot of listeners for Amapiano can agree that takes forever. When you're in the car
That's
and you got
why-
like a 10-minute drive,
I'll give you an example.
The song is gonna be
first
done,
of
you know?
all, when it comes to music now, popular
Sure.
music, hip hop, Afrobeats, whatever it is, DJs are playing maximum 80 seconds.
sure.
If it's a monster record, you've got your Burner Boys, your Whiskey or whatever it is, they're gonna play the verse and the chorus and maybe some parts of the verse again or whatever
then they
before they
mix up.
switch into the next record.
Sure.
So for initially when the Amapiano record started coming and you're looking at 6-minute long songs and stuff, I'm asking artists that you're gonna have to cut it down if you want to get into the major playlists.
Sure,
And if
sure.
you wanna, so now artists will have to find their ways.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to an Amapiano party, that's cool. We understand that. That's why we're there.
Yeah.
But if you're just going to a general party and
Sure,
space
sure.
where people are listening to everything, including Amapiano,
Sure.
the DJs playing will
Yeah,
be...
they transition quite quick.
Yes.
I've experienced it a lot.
Yeah.
But I also believe that's why you have DJ packs, bro. That's why you send out DJ packs to the DJs, is because you want the extendeds.
Guess what?
You know?
Guess what?
Yeah.
What you're talking there is independent artist information.
Sure.
A lot of artists that are signed, my producer's nodding his head because he's part of the system too. A lot of artists that are signed to big machines, you'll be surprised that they send the dirty records to the radio DJs.
Sure.
Because they have no idea what a DJ pack that includes the
yeah.
acapella, the radio
Instrumental, the
edits,
radio
instrument.
edits, yeah.
They don't. So now we're having to re-educate some of the
Sure.
biggest superstars. Don't even have that knowledge.
Can you actually tell me about what is a DJ dub? What is
So-
that? I've found about that recently, and
So
I'm
a
like,
DJ,
I want to start doing
so
it.
a DJ dub for someone like you would be crazy.
Sure.
So it's Big Flexer, and you will find a moment in there, maybe at the beginning, where you're going to give a specific shout out to the DJ you're sending it to.
Like in my vocals.
So
on the record.
yes.
Okay.
So what you do is you probably record the drops where you're going down, and then DJ Edu's there.
Oh,
then
so-
you
okay.
add that to it,
Sure.
and you send it to him.
Okay.
So you're gonna do a lot of the hip hop artists.
Mm-hmm.
This is how hip hop dominated the world.
Sure.
They record 150 dubs in territories. I
I
met
saw Tory Lanez post about it. I was like,
exactly.
okay.
That's what he does. So Tory Lanez will say, "Send me your names," and I'm gonna sit down here and do 150.
Sure.
And his engineer will edit. Everybody will have theirs. So the biggest
Yeah.
radio DJs have the specific ones. The
Sure,
biggest
sure,
club
sure.
DJs have, which means there is a
And where
reason.
where do you upload it? Do you send it to them individually?
Yes. So you
Okay.
send it to them individually. In some cases, you would have people. So I also kind of link and connect to a lot of like the Afrobeats DJs here in the UK, maybe like 150, 200, whatever.
Sure.
So I would speak to, for example, Yemi Alade, Fino, whatever. I'll just say, I'll send them a list of
Sure.
names. And then they'll do that. Then they'll send me back the
Sure,
Dropbox.
sure.
I will now give it to everybody
Distribute it to-
individually.
okay, sure.
Exactly. And now every DJ has a reason to play that record because they've got
I love
Costa
it, bro.
Titch.
I think that's cool.
Give it, yeah.
That's so dope, bro.
So
I'm gonna try it out.
So that's what garage in the UK, hip hop in America, and R&B. A lot of those artists. That's how the genre became very big.
Sure,
So they personalized everything for the DJs. Now you talked about hip hop and the little back and forth you had with Casper. I want to finish on that.
Sure.
SA hip hop became one of the biggest things to come out of Africa,
Sure.
where a monster like Casper is doing 20,000, 40,000, 50,000, 60,000 in South Africa. You've got AKA making hit records. You know, these guys are big. Nasty C
100%.
is, you
yeah.
know. But all of a sudden, once Amapiano stepped in the scene, it looked like SA hip hop lost breath a little bit.
I think there's something I saw. It was a podcast with Jazzy Q and Reason, or Sizwe Alkaline.
Yeah.
That's what he's referred to now. They basically were talking about the same thing, and a very like a different perspective hit me when I heard it, because as a hip hop artist or as a hip hop fan, you get like super defensive.
Yeah. Nah, man, we're still here. Yeah.
And I think they said something along the lines of like, SA hip hop isn't dead, it's just the artists aren't working hard enough. And that like
Damn.
and that hit me because it made me realize that actually, bro, if you can count, bro, the amount of drops that are coming. You understand what I mean? And I think that's also the case, because it's literally an ecosystem, bro. Like if everyone is dropping at the same time, that big
Keeps the
influence,
fans.
it keeps the fans happy
Excited.
and fed and excited. And now they're comparing. No, that was the hardest record to come out today.
Yep.
But now because we're not doing that, that's happening in piano. You understand? And now obviously, Amapiano already has a spotlight in terms of the world. So
Absolutely.
you can
Because
probably
it's close to dance and house
you
music.
can times 10 the streams, because it's like, yo, it's the whole world listening. It's not just
Absolutely.
SA,
Absolutely.
But more than anything, I think it's the energy of everybody needs to be dropping records. And then there was a phase when I was on the come up, just before I got into the mainstream, where everyone was dropping, I call it like playlist type music. So they were dropping the records that are chilled, you want to listen to it at home. They weren't dropping the music for the clubs.
The clubs.
And
Everybody was
that's
trying to
when-
get to
that
Drake
was like
type
when-
of sounds.
That's when everything started to like slowly but surely you could see it like it's coming, you know. And then Amapiano just said,
man, we go for the clubs.
you get what I'm saying? So there's multiple factors that play at hand as to why this conversation is there, but in actual reality of it, it's not dead. It's not dead. We were in the car yesterday. KO has the #1 record in SA.
KO's
You understand?
That's
on
a freaking,
Apple Music.
Shout
So-
out to my brother KO. That's
Bro,
an icon right there.
So if you really look at it, bro, it's there. We were on our way to Manchester last week Friday.
Yeah.
We were bumping A-Reese in the car, and TJ, Tristan, our tour manager, he was like, "Yo, who's this guy?" You know, like, and we
Wow.
had to run a few records for him. The next morning or the next afternoon, we met him. He's like, "Bro, I've been bumping A-Reese the whole morning," and that's just showing you literally that, like,
when people get to hear and see
It's
it,
there. It's
the
there.
content is still crazy.
it's still crazy. It's still there. There's beautiful music being dropped. It's just you need to be tapped in and understand, because I've always had this kind of like concept, even on the come up, when I was trying to picture how am I going to get into the game. I'd always look at it as the game is like the main stage and the other stages at a festival, right? There's the main stage where the spotlight is, right? So you're going to have like 10,000 people looking this direction.
Yep.
You understand? And now you are at the back of the crowd, like trying to do what they're doing on the main stage. No, everyone's focused on the main stage. They're going to see
See
you.
you there.
But now you have that other smaller stage, go there
You're
and
in front
shine
of the
there.
stage.
And eventually you're going to convert enough people to go to that stage. And then you make your way to the main stage. You build your way to the headline. And that's
crazy.
kind of exactly, if you look at it in that analogy
Crazy.
of what's happening with the two genres. It's like the Amapiano started as that stage on the side.
But now,
Do you understand?
That's
And
what
then it
everybody's
just
looking
kept
at.
converting people. And now it's the main stage.
facts.
You know. And the other thing also about it is I think the thing that I saw on the come up, which is what my analysis of the game was, I believe that the key players in SA hip hop weren't understanding the role and influence that they had, right? Because you would see them jumping from genre to genre to genre. And that's how something like the new wave in SA, which is like the underground, the kids, right? The trap music started bubbling heavy, was because your biggest players would like switch, and now they're doing like a Afrobeat type song, or they're doing like a pop record for radio. You know, they're doing like all these like mainstream kind of moves, and they're forgetting like
The
what
core
Yeah.
culture, the core source of
so all the kids on the come up are like,
nah, man.
yo,
we
what are
go-
we gonna do? So then they started creating their own parties and stuff like that. And that's, funny enough, the reason why Nkalagata had so much success behind it, because it was the perfect blend. It was something that catered for the youth, and it was something that catered for the mainstream at the same time. And that's basically how we managed to find that gap in the market to get inside.
That's amazing, man. I know your phone will be ringing crazy now from across Nigeria, Ghana, the rest of the world. What kind of names are hitting you up and saying, listen, Costa, we might as well jump in the studio, man. What's going on?
Crazy. Honestly speaking, man, there's some really, really life-changing opportunities, but I don't like speaking on things until they actually
they
happen. I'm really a believer of sometimes people really have bad energy towards the things they're not, and it could be just some viewers that are like watching this because they don't like me, and now they're watching it like, oh, you got that coming up?
Nah,
it's
man,
not gonna happen. Then they
let's
put that,
jump on that comment and make sure we put that to sleep.
something like that. And for me, it's just I rather like to let my work speak for itself. I'm really at a time now where I'm moving at my own pace. I'm moving in my own lane, and I'm really allowing myself to control
Facts.
the pace of what we really want to do. So I feel like announcing these things before they actually happen just takes away the excitement.
Absolutely.
Let's make it a movie for the fans. Let's make them enjoy it. Let's make them want to watch the next episode. What's gonna happen next? But obviously the next episode is the EP.
Exactly.
I
I
have to
just
tell you
wanted
about
to ask
that.
you now,
Yeah.
when's the EP coming, and what can
So,
we expect around the EP?
So we've definitely got the EP coming early November, but
Amazing.
we've got two singles that will be dropping before that are on the EP.
Yeah.
One next month, one in October. Crazy, it's gonna be
gonna be
vibes. We've got
And that's straight up piano.
the EP is straight up piano. But definitely you'll get the sense that there's a different structure to it. There's a bit of a different spin that you'll hear that comes across in the EP. And the reason for that was I originally wanted to drop an EP that included both hip hop and Amapiano.
Yep.
But what I was struggling with was in studio, we've been really trying to push the barriers, like, and work out, like, think outside of the box in terms of how to, like, blend the two.
Yeah.
Because we've done the sound of it's a trap beat and then you put the log drum in. Like, we've tried that multiple times, and now if I come with that, people are gonna say, oh, he's just doing another R.E.M. You know, things I've done already. And at our studio camps, like, we got to this kind of conclusion where we're like, you know what? Let's not force ourselves to make that just based on the fact that we need to include hip hop in the EP.
Let it come naturally.
Let's make it naturally, you know. So we got the album that we hopefully want to do next year. Now with the album next year, that'll give us at least more time to perfect that craft.
Absolutely.
You know, because we're at that point now, bro, where there's a lot of eyes.
Absolutely.
You know, yes, you got to take risks and leaps of faith and, you know, try out different things. But at the same time, if you don't feel confident about something, don't drop it.
Don't play with it. What's the title of the EP?
It's Mr. Big Flexer.
Ha! Oh my God. So have you been able to spend some of these cash? Because you've been on the road all year, making all this money. You've seen the lifestyle that inspired you to become a musician. My brother, what are you spending on now?
Bro, everything I've been making is gone into this EP. I'm not even capping. Like, legit, like, yeah, it's a funny story. I won't drag too much into that, but, like, yo, my team knows, bro. Like, we've literally put it all on the line. You know, we really, 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 like, going hard on it, because at the same time, you know, when you're showcasing and putting your work out into the world, you really wanna present it in the right way. There's a certain quality, there's a certain standard that everyone is expecting, you know, and you gotta meet that. You know, Big Flexer, yes, like, the quality of the video, if you really go to a director, because I used to shoot videos, like, that's not the top quality that you can shoot a video on. Absolutely. It's the raw energy and of the vibe in the video and the direction of the video that make
the glitz and glamour. We got the message.
So now we really have to start, like, tapping into that phase and making sure we present ourselves on that level, which has been stressful but exciting at the same time. I'm just excited to drop now, bro. I've been working on this since the beginning of the year. I've been itching. The team just says, no, the song's getting bigger. Let's hold on. Let's wait. And, like, I've just been itching to say, you know.
I think you've got it now. The time is just about right. Now you're international. Everybody's enjoying the music. And most importantly, we've gotten to see you out here. Hear from you. So now we're not only loving the music. Big shout outs to you, man. I think you've got an amazing personality.
Thank you, bro.
I think, you know, you've got something in between your ears, and that's part of the business that makes it even bigger. So now we know that you're not only an artist, an entertainer, you're creative, you're a businessman, you're a humble young man, you've got incredible humble beginnings. You remember those steps, and that's going to make you a bigger star. My brother, it's a pleasure to have met you, sit down here. I'm looking forward to meeting you many, many, many times. Ladies and gentlemen, for my superstar guest out of South Africa, it's Mr. Big Flexer, the one and only Costa Titch.
Bro,
listen, man, I
thank you for having me,
brother. No, thank you. That's amazing.
Right.